What's going on? Welcome to Asian Cosell. So I have one from China Unvarnished, and this one is she left her husband at his lowest. Now he's a baller, multi-millionaire, and now she is just slapping herself in shame. So let's take a look at this video. All right.
说完了就不就不。
The husband started a business and ended up in debt by 500,000 yuan. The wife took all their property and went back to her parents' home with their child, leaving nothing of value for the husband. Now that the husband has made a comeback and is worth tens of millions of yuan, the wife has returned, asking to reconcile. The elderly man in the video is Ding's father, Ding Guoping. He told the mediator that his son-in-law, Lu Tsong, is simply not human. A year ago, his daughter, Ding Yingying, suffered grievances in her husband's home and went back to her parents' house with their Song didn't even bother to pick them up, not even a single phone call to check on them. What angered him most was that since the granddaughter was born, Lu Tsong hasn't paid a single yuan in child support. Even if he had conflicts with his wife, how could he completely ignore the child? Ding Guoping said he never approved of Lu Tsong from the start. There was a huge gap in the family's conditions. His daughter, Ding Yingying, was as beautiful as a goddess and well-educated. Lu Tsong, on the other hand, came from a rural background and had average looks. But since his daughter liked him, and because Lu Tsong didn't look like a playboy, he reluctantly agreed to the marriage. Now look at what's happened. Lu Tsong became a successful businessman and just wants to abandon the wife who shared his hardships and the newborn daughter, to enjoy life on his own. Ding Yingying was also heartbroken by her husband's abandonment. She couldn't understand why the man who once swore to love her forever would suddenly become so cruel, ignoring both her and their child. Later, she led the mediator to her in-laws' house.
아니 여러분 요즘 진짜 웃긴 게 뭔지 아세요? 드라마나 영화 장면을
Yep, you could purchase
보다가
this.
이거다 싶으면 그냥 잘라서
So
At that time, her husband Lu Tsong was not home. Her mother-in-law, Li Guixiang, was surprised to see the daughter-in-law she hadn't seen in a year. However, upon hearing the accusations from her in-laws, she felt both angry and wronged. Li Guixiang said her son Lu Tsong is their only child. Due to his personality, he was still unmarried at 30, and as parents, they were very anxious. When they learned he finally had a girlfriend, they were overjoyed. To marry Ding Yingying into the family, they spent nearly all their lifetime savings to organize a grand wedding. After the wedding, they treated Ding Yingying like their own daughter. They never asked her to do any housework. They gave her their full love and attention. But 1 year ago, she suddenly took the newborn granddaughter and went back to her parents' home. She really didn't understand what exactly had happened between the young couple. But Ding Yingying said she left because her mother-in-law had planned to rent out the marital home she shared with her husband. Ding Yingying said she overheard her mother-in-law talking on the phone about renting out their home. In her eyes, this meant her mother-in-law was trying to kick her out, so she got angry and returned to her parents' home. But upon hearing this, her mother-in-law Li Guixiang cried in injustice. She had only called to rent it.
So she should have asked instead of just rolling out and just getting angry and rolling out. Okay.
Besides, the key to the marital home was with Ding Yingying. She couldn't make that decision herself. However, Ding Yingying still insisted that even if the home wasn't actually rented out, her mother-in-law's behavior had hurt her. But was it really worth leaving home for nearly a year, just because of a minor misunderstanding with her mother-in-law? As the two women confronted each other, Lu Tsong returned after being informed. Upon seeing his father-in-law and wife, he remained calm. But Ding Guoping was furious. He immediately pulled out several accusation letters he had long prepared, listing one by one the terrible things Lu Tsong had done, enough to prove that he didn't value the marriage at all. He said Lu Tsong once used divorce as a threat to force Ding Yingying to take out a loan. But Lu Tsong denied it, claiming it was slander. Back then, he wanted to borrow 500,000 yuan to start a business. If the loan was in both their names, the interest would be lower. But his wife refused, unwilling to share the risk. She even mocked him for lacking talent and said he wasn't fit to be a boss. Later,
Whoa.
she took the only delivery vehicle and all valuable items from the house and went back to her parents' home. Although he could understand her actions, Lu Tsong still felt deeply hurt. Now that he had overcome his difficulties and his business was booming, his wife wanted to come back and enjoy the benefits. How could he agree? In his eyes, if she refused to suffer with him during his hardest times, she didn't deserve to share the good times now.
Yeah, that's bull. That's BS because she takes the child and she goes okay and leaves homeboy. I thought till death do us part. And okay, that was probably the loan was crazy, but he succeeded. But now she wants to come back. Oh, he's great. He's making millions. Didn't want to suffer with him. Oh well.
now. But Ding Yingying said she left because she had no choice. She feared that if his business failed, their daughter would be dragged down too. Since their daughter had just been born, she couldn't accept her husband threatening her with divorce. That's why she left with the child. But upon hearing this, Lu Tsong only found it laughable. In his view, it was just an excuse. Lu Tsong said even if the business failed, his wife wouldn't have to repay the loan, because it was secured with his parents' old house.
Yeah.
But this situation also made him see her true colors.
Yep.
Now, he only wanted a divorce from Ding Yingying. Seeing that her husband was determined to divorce, Ding Yingying used their daughter as leverage, saying the child was only 1 year old and couldn't grow up without both parents. But Lu Tsong wasn't buying it. His stance remained firm. Lu Tsong said he never had much hope for marriage to begin with, nor did he meet the right person. Under pressure from his parents, he happened to meet Ding Yingying, an older unmarried co-worker. After a short time dating, they decided to get married. During their courtship, they seemed compatible, but everything changed after marriage. Ding Yingying had a dominant personality. He originally thought they
Oh.
would support each other and face life hand in hand. But Ding Yingying had a strong sense of self-protection, which made Lu Tsong feel drained. He couldn't get any support from his partner and would rather move forward alone. Now, he didn't want to continue this loveless marriage. As for the child, Lu Tsong said he would raise the child alone as long as he could get divorced from Ding Yingying. Seeing that her husband was dead set on divorce, Ding Yingying panicked completely. She dropped her tough stance and softened her tone, pleading with her husband to give her another chance.
So she wouldn't give him any peace. So if he's out there in the world trying to make this happen, working and trying to, get his business going, the last thing he wants is to deal with a nagging wife, and you couldn't give him that. And now you're doing well, and she wants to come back. I say go kick rocks.
She promised to change her flaws and share both hardship and happiness with him from now on.
No, no,
No
no.
matter what happens, she swore she would never leave again. But Lu Tsong refused to agree to
I
reconciliation.
don't blame him.
He said Ding Yingying had contributed nothing, yet wanted to enjoy his success. How could life be so easy?
Yeah.
In the end, Lu Tsong decided to take the legal route to end the loveless marriage. He also planned to fight for custody of the child, because he believed Ding Yingying was too selfish,
Yeah.
and he didn't feel comfortable leaving the child in her care.
说完了就不。
Yeah.
The collapse of this marriage, at its core, is a brutal interrogation of human nature under pressure. When a man is at his lowest, broke, exhausted, desperate for support, Ding Yingying chose to walk away. There was no loyalty, no trust, no partnership. only withdrawal and abandonment.
I
Now,
don't blame this guy.
After Lu Tsung has fought his way back, standing tall with hard-earned success, she wants to return and start
Oh,
over. But life
hell
doesn't work
no.
that way. You don't get to walk away when it's hard and return when it's easy. Men are not ATMs, and they're not emotional safety nets either. So
Yeah.
many men are looked down upon when they struggle, dismissed as not good enough, only to have those same people show up once they've made it. But if someone won't stand by you when you're nothing, do they really deserve to be with you when you become something? Some women think a man's success is automatic, and their
Yeah.
poor choices always come with a second chance. But the truth is, once missed, it's missed for good. This time, Lu Tsung's refusal isn't heartlessness, it's clarity on convenience or profit. So what do you think? A woman who once abandoned you deserve a place? Feel free to leave a comment.
Oh, no.
I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See you next one.
Yep. And hey, if she's slapping herself, whose fault is it? Whose fault? Yeah, I don't blame the guy. Like, she wrote out when he was going through the hard shit. Holy moly. No, you're going to go kick rocks, and I hope he gets custody of the child because, you know, he's got his parents to help him raise the child, and he's doing well. So, yeah. All right. So, shout out to China Unvarnished for this video. If any of you enjoyed any of this content, please give me the HKO special. Help the king out. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment. And wherever you are, stay safe. And I'll see you in my next video.